What's going on here? Holy shit! Hold on, let me
Whoa.
mute the stream. I'm sorry you cut me off in a conversation about Kentucky.
Oh, sorry, very. You have such a good voice. Oh my god.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah,
You're
no, I
very
kind
good.
of make up for it with how autistic as shit I can be sometimes, you know, and I mean that legitimately. I have the papers.
Well, I probably would get the papers if I actually went to
Oh,
a
dude, they're
person.
so fucking good. You get away with fucking everything. I shit, right? Like I remember whenever I was at a fucking whenever I had a job, right? I'd be in there doing whatever and I could just get away with fucking anything, right? They'd explain shit to me several times and I would just not memorize it cuz I didn't care. But I'd blame it on the autism. And they believed it every single fucking time, right? If only I could get money from the government so I wouldn't have to do that. But I mean, I've not tried yet. Maybe 2022, right? 2022 is going to be my year.
I mean, every time you get in a fight, well, someone tries to kick you out of a bar, just say, "Dude, I'm fucking autistic. Leave me alone."
Oh shit, yeah, you know, but I don't know. It didn't work. It didn't work too well for the last guy who tried. I mean, if people are calling them up saying, "Hey, he's a big weirdo, right? You need to kick him out right now. He's violent. He's a sociopath or some shit." I don't know. I don't know the type of shit. That's kind of why I like. I'm glad that I was not at the peak of my autism, like very publicly on the internet. I'll say it like that, right? I don't know necessarily where shit would have wound up in like 5 years time had I done that, you know.
Oh yeah. I
Oh, gee
I just want to
whiz.
let you speak. You've got such a good
Oh yeah,
voice.
no. No. If you give me the fucking platform, I'll just fucking start rambling and I won't stop, and it'll take you to some weird fucking places. I can tell you that much right now.
I'm really enjoying it. Honestly,
Yeah,
one
no,
of the best
I
voices I've heard.
yeah, well, thank you. You know, if you want to like talk about stuff I think might be related to your channel, you know, I did make a mention in suggestions a little bit earlier when I just joined the server. I know that there were people talking about like that Goofy movie school shooting fan art, right? And I remember there was actually who might be up your alley, might not be. He's one of those old furry artists, and by old I mean like late 90s, early 2000s. And he's sort of infamous if you know anything about the culture surrounding those comic artists and whatnot. His name was Drip Rat, you know, his, I guess power word you might call it is Dave Hopkins. And he made this comic that sort of spanned like a decade. It was called Jack. And in the first couple pages, you see an abortion. And then right after that, you see
Okay.
this dude named Brian that I posted in the first page walk into a school with a gun. And then he starts shooting it, and some wacky shit happens from there. But that's only a sliver of the comic. The rest of it is just like life and hell and shit like that, where it's over the top, bloody, disgusting. I think that Drip Rat is like a despair fetishist, right? And I'm not just saying it, like the comic that put him on the map for me. I was in a thread, you know, one of those lol threads where you post like video game related web comics and you think, why did they ever make shit like this? Someone started dumping one of his comics that basically centered around a character who looked very similar to Drip Rat's like OC insert, kidnapping, you know, sexually assaulting these two women very, very blatantly and very roughly. And then he like dresses them up in some dresses and he throws them into a giant fucking murder barrel. And he says like, this is the dumping ground for all the bodies of the mafiosos, corrupt politicians, crime families, etc. This is every missing persons case in America right here. And he throws them in, and it's really fucked up because you can tell he had his dick in his hand while he was making it. You know, I think if you were to look into him, there is a treasure trove of horrific shit, even just regarding him. Reading about it gave me a weird feeling. I felt molested after reading some of it. I'm not gonna lie. I got very religious after watching, because, like, if this is the kind of guy who's gonna be in hell, I don't think I want to be anywhere near him, right? But that would be maybe my suggestion. There's a treasure trove of school shooting related furry art. Maybe that would be a good sideshow. But the main attraction, I think, would be these strange despair fetishists like Drip Rat.
I'm gonna say you gave me whiplash there because you said, oh yeah, the first 2 pages, and I was like, oh, is this gonna be like Control Alt Delete? No, it's just out the gate craziness.
Oh, dude,
But
you have no idea. But that comic where he throws them into the murder barrel, like, I remember looking at that and being just skeeved out. And then I looked at the file name, And turns out the guy had started like 38 pages in, so there were 32 prior where he kidnaps and rapes these 2 girls. I'm like, I'm not doing this, right? That's fucked. That's horrifying. That's disgusting. I don't want to be anywhere near this kind of guy. But what's really fucked up is that he won awards for like comic book creation and writing related to furry shit. He won awards. He was selling these like physical versions of some of this stuff. It's really fucked up to look into, is what I'm saying.
Well, it definitely sounds like it, and I've not even seen it.
And this guy was like, I'll say it like this. It's a good example of how like furries as a whole seem to elevate these people who are very clearly sick and twisted on some deranged mental level. They let them elevate to like the upper echelon, like pop you first status. I'll refer to it as that. And we still see modern incarnations of this where you can play like 7 Degrees of Snake thing, right? Where you take anybody who was in the zoo crew, in the leaks, anything like that, and then you just try to find out how many degrees of separation any popular furry artist was from them, and it's almost always less than 7. It's like the Oracle of Bacon, but for weird, disgusting, like, sadomosexual zoophiles. This conversation took a turn really quick. Holy shit, I just realized that.
Yeah, you turned. I've been along for the ride. I've been admiring your voice and just cowering in fear at the same time, just at the horrors you've told me.
Dude, yeah, no, I've gone so far down the rabbit hole, I'm basically in hell on this type of stuff. You can go so far down until you realize that there's just no coming back from it. I haven't even talked about like the furry occupied industries and shit, and how there's a alarming number of furries in like very high places, and they're all weird fucks, right?
Oh, that was
like there's a senator in Arizona with a fursona. Oh. That's a real thing. I think it might be Kirsten Cinema. I'm not certain though.
It's like a secret society.
Unironically, it is. They have their own language, symbols, jokes. They have terminology that they can use, and unless you're hucked into the fucking industry, you don't understand it. The furry-occupied industries, I tell you this completely and totally, it's like one of those secret societies that operates out in the public, and they try to convince people that they aren't harmless, even though there's more and more evidence that they're into fucked up shit, and they're doing fucked up shit. Like, every major convention is just a front for all of the fucking crazy, like, drug money that is infiltrating everything behind the scenes. And that's not even going into things like, you know, the strangely rich upper echelon fucking oligarchy and aristocracy of these furry, like, commissioners who will pay exorbitant amounts of money to commission works. And that goes into tons of theory. Like, is that tied in with the drug money that we know is funneling into these conventions that no one wants to investigate, because you can only go through so many, like, weird sex orgy rooms, right? Where all this weird, like, you know, people ejaculating onto pizzas and all that shit. You can only go through so many of those rooms before you start losing steam as a police officer, right? And that's not the hill a lot of people would like to die on. But there's a lot of money that doesn't look like it's being taxed. And that's like a dead ringer for money laundering. Like I said, drug money could be going into any other number of illegal type shit. And then that's not even going behind, like, this entire culture that is based on pornography and has been shown time and time again to have a tolerance and even a respect for illegal types of pornography that gets centered around in their circles. You have no fucking idea how deep this rabbit hole goes, right? It will tear you apart by the time you get down there, because the pressure of it is like a fucking... the entire weight of the world starts weighing down on you like a modern day atlas, just with the information, because you know there's not shit that you can do about it. Because, I mean, they all respect their own, they all stick with their own, and basically they are like a secret society that will just cut everybody slack, and the only time that they won't is whenever that person gets caught and there's undeniable evidence, and then everyone else starts deleting shit. That's why whenever the Zoo Crew leaks happened in, like, 2018, every major popular furry artist started deleting tweets from 10 years back, and no one called them out on it, and now it's just been swept under the rug.
So, in summary... basically, furries are part of Epstein's people.
Unironically. I mean that unironically.
Okay, very cool.